Hi, this is Bill Fournet, President and CEO of the Persimmon Group. And today I'd like to share with you 5 considerations when you're trying to either develop your team members or to possibly enhance or add to your team based on the capabilities or the needs that you have. These 5 are ways of looking at an individual and asking yourself, where do they need development or time or knowledge in certain areas? So the first of these 5 is culture. Culture for me is bar none the foundation by which you should hire or fire on. Culture says, what's the value system? What do you buy in and believe? How do we approach work? What do we stand for? And in organizations today, culture is absolutely key. You can put as much money against somebody, you can put their title, you can give them the best office, but eventually, if it's not a culture fit or a values fit, they're going to leave. So know your culture. Think about it and bring it into the hiring situation so that you can ensure that you've got a match immediately as to how they approach their work and why they're there. Now, these next 4 really get into as you're assessing the role that you need to hire for and the individual that you're trying to bring in. Where are they in these particular spectrums? And you can be from a low level of maturity or exposure or basics all the way up to being very enhanced or senior. And that comes down to what do you need? So the first of these is capabilities. Capabilities is skills. It's something that we've learned, we've applied it over and over again in certain places. In a lot of organizations, this gets into technical expertise, but ultimately, how good are you at what you're doing? Most job descriptions, most role descriptions, the technical abilities or capabilities is what you see in those positions. But the second, that's to me as important, if not more important, is competencies. These are what we call the soft skills sometimes. How well do you communicate? Are you good at analysis? Are you good at initiative? How well can you take charge and potentially lead? Those are competencies that you're looking for that go beyond just the hard and fast, do you have these skills, yes or no? The third is knowledge. Knowledge is typically what a person comes in with from either college or high school or a trade school, but the problem with knowledge is it's very theoretical and they haven't necessarily had a lot of application in it. Over time, as you apply that knowledge or you have that background, that may develop into a skill. But the other thing that you need to be able to supply knowledge is the 5th thing, and that is experience. Experience is your application and you're asking questions in the world around you, and you seeing that when I apply a certain skill in certain situations or a certain competency, it did not go the way I expected it to go. How do you develop that aspect of experience? Because experience rounds out how you apply certain things, whether that's knowledge or competency or capability. As a leader, when I have a person that comes in right out of school who's young in the workforce, and there's a lot of that going on today, the first question I look at is, do they have competency? Do they have certain abilities that I need that I can point them and train them in different aspects into capabilities as well as into knowledge? And then the second part that I'm always asking is, do they have experience? How do they react when they're failing? How do they react in certain situations? How did they step back after they applied a skill and realize it wasn't the right fit? By looking at those 5 different areas, first one being culture that I would hire or fire against, but those other 4, I can get more targeted into what do I need to do to develop that individual? Do I need to give them more broad exposure or experience? Do I need to give them some actual training to enhance their capability? Do I need to go research for knowledge? Or do I need to work with them on how they ask the questions or get more confident in speaking in front of someone, as an example? So those are the 5 characteristics or keys in developing your team members. Until next time, we'll see you. Thanks.